Hi.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
There's a delay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Read, Rate, Review, but on my channel for a change. And we're missing one key person, unfortunately. Gia's not with us today. She had to hop out of this one, unfortunately. So we're here with me posing as a host. So I'm going to apologize in advance for that because this is fresh to me. Apologies. But we're here. Hooray. And we're here to talk all about, the Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. But before we get into that, because we don't want to spoil it for anyone. Oh. But before we get into that, because we don't want to spoil it. Where is that echo coming from?
It's not me, is it? No.
No, it's not me.
No, mine's muted.
I've got headphones.
Don't know where that's coming from then. Are we echoing for anyone else?
I don't think we're echoing now.
Okay, marvelous. Anyway, as I was saying, before we get into talking about the book, though, we want to talk about our next month's nominations. Yes, that's what we normally do first.
Yeah.
So I don't get to nominate one this time because this was my pick, but you four certainly do. So take it away. Let's start with Cody.
Oh, okay. So my pick is Truly Devious because I feel like after all the heavy fantasy stuff we've been reading, it might be a nice change of pace. So it's by Maureen Johnson, and it's a YA mystery thriller about a prolific, was it a kidnapper and murderer who had the pseudonym Truly Devious, and it's set at a private school. It's supposed to be a lot of fun, ends on a cliffhanger though, so it's apparently best to have the second one available, so I'm sorry about that. But it sounds like it could be fun. I've only heard good things about this one, so that's one's my pick and what it's about, kinda, I think.
Nice. So let's go for Beck.
My pick is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence, which Cody could explain better than I'm going to be able to. But it is a story about a girl named Nona, and I think it's kind of like our assassin story. She goes to a Sweet Mercy Girls. It's a convent, and I think she's been killing people. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry. Cody's going to kill me.
That's pretty much spot on. Assassin nuns, pretty much.
Assassin nuns, yeah.
Yeah.
Magical assassin nuns.
Magical assassin nuns in a dystopian setting, but also it's like a school, but it's a convent. So it's pretty
Is
cool.
it like Sister Act?
Yes, but with knives and poisons.
Oh my god. Oh, I love it.
They're murderers.
I'm sold.
Okay,
That's my pick.
interesting. AJ?
I have gone for 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City by KJ Parker, which is billed as basically a fantasy version of The Martian, where an army is attacking a city and they have to think out ingenious ways to defend the city. It's meant to be filled with witty, sarcastic humor and light-hearted characters. And please nominate it because I really want to read it.
And Gavin.
My nomination is Deep Light by Frances Hardinge. I've heard pretty much nothing about this book. It's gone well under people's radars, but it is about, I think, gods and the island of Myriad, and they tear each other apart, and people throw sacrifices into the sea to appease these gods. And then 30 years later, things have calmed down, the gods have gone, and these two main characters have to sort of scavenge these sacrifices or something from the deep sea, and there's something pulsing beneath the waves, and it's like very gothic, and it's gods. That's all I'm saying. That's all I know about it.
It's gods. Okay. Right. Bear with me because there was a link for the survey somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've got it. Did that
Who's
work?
gonna win?
Hey.
Oh yeah, it did. Got it.
Hey. So
Hey.
that link that I've just posted there, that one, is the survey, the Google form thing where you can go and vote for the books. Are you guys all still set on your books? Do you want someone else's book to win? Anything?
I'd be happy with any of the others because, I mean, Red Sister and also AJ's pick sounds amazing. How have I not heard of that before? And same with Gav's because gods.
God.
So,
But also, I want nuns, and also, I love the sound of AJ's pick. We've got to get a winner.
I'm down for it. We're all friendly here. Friendly voting this week.
Yes.
Oh.
Do we find out at the end of the live show, or do we? I can't remember.
No one here can see the results, so.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Normally, G pops in to just let us know how the votes are doing, doesn't she, throughout? But I can't do that because it's on her Google account. So.
Going to be a
I think the
surprise.
deadline normally closes a little bit after anyway, doesn't it? So we'll probably announce it in a few days or something on the Twitter.
Cool. Is there anything else that we want to discuss before we get into this? Because I feel like we've been very quick, but that'll be because there's less of us than usual.
I'm happy to jump in.
Anything
we
else?
can always do random questions after we've discussed.
Yeah, happy to do that. Okay, right. So as I said, I was planning this hosting business that we're calling this. So I have a little document of questions to ask. Okay, so first point on my document is to say goodbye to people that haven't read the book because everything's about to get very spoilery if you have not read the Starless Sea. So if you don't want to be spoiled and you haven't finished it, then now would be a good time to hop on out. But we will see you for the next one. I'm assuming most people here are probably here to talk about the book. So let's just get on with that. So kick it off with overall rating, general thoughts, just as a whole, what did you make of it? Let's start with Beck.
Oh, yay. Glad I got to go first. I'm sorry in advance, Cody. I did not like it. I did not like it. I think I gave it a 3 stars, but that could go down once I've written a full review. I just don't know just yet, but I settled on a 3. I just thought I was just confused. I was just confused the whole way through. I'm still confused. Bunny asked afterwards, like, did it all come together in the end for you? And I was like, no, I'm still confused.
Not a bit.
Not one bit. I did listen to the audiobook though, so that may have hindered my experience because I only started it this week. So I was rushing, but I was just confused. It kind of, I feel like it was trying too hard for me. It was trying too hard to be flowery and pretty, and I just wasn't here for it. Sorry.
Very to the point. AJ?
Yeah, pretty similar, unfortunately. I think it started really well, and I was definitely intrigued, but I feel like the mystery just kind of went nowhere, and it kind of got worse for me as it went on. And the last 20% of the book, I really struggled hard to get through it and finish it. I think I'll probably give it a 3 stars because I know it's not a bad book. I just don't think it's my sort of book. Unfortunately, it wasn't for me, this one.
Fair enough. Let's brighten things up. Cody?
I loved it so much. There were so many quotes that I just want tattooed on my face. Maybe not, that's a bit much. But I completely agree with all the criticisms of this. Reading this was like a fever dream that I did not want to wake up from. I was completely absorbed with the overly purple descriptive prose. I don't know, it pandered to readers and cat lovers and gamers, and I was 100% here for it. I ate this up. I loved I don't know, I just loved the setting and the world, I think, more so. The mystery kind of got halfway through and I was like, okay, I don't think there's going to be a satisfying conclusion to that, but I'm okay with that. I like open-ended stories. I like that it was left up to your own interpretation. I liked all the literary references, again, pandering to the audience. I don't know. I just ate this up. I loved so much about this, with it being a book within a book, and then like stories upon stories and this labyrinth in the library. So much imagery. I thought it was so beautiful, and yeah. But I completely see all the issues. I completely agree with you, but I loved it anyway.
Gavin?
Can we swear?
I mean, you're on my channel.
That says it all. That says it all.
Yes.
Yeah, we can swear. Okay, what the fuck? That's all I want to say. What the fuck? So I gave it 3 stars because, like AJ, I didn't think it was like a bad book, but to me it wasn't like a great book because I just don't think I'm into the whole flowery kind of descriptive kind of aimlessness that I felt was the entire book. But I'd say in that though, I was super intrigued to begin with, and I think it just started tailoring off towards the middle, and then it kind of lost me by the end. And it took me quite a while to read it. I didn't rush it. It took me, I think, about 10, 11 days, and I was like taking it bit by bit. And even then, I felt like maybe I should have just read it all at once, because I felt myself start to forget what had happened before, because nothing had happened before, really. You know, I mean, things happened, but not quite. Things were too ambiguous for me. It was too, yeah. So yeah, 3. I'm sorry.
No, I get
it. cries into the tea.
Oh, I don't care. I loved it.
Gap between that. I gave it 4 stars. I did really, really enjoy it, but I know I like Erin's writing because I loved her other book. So I know that I like her kind of flowery, slightly nonsensical, a bit all over the place, but beautiful writing. But there were definitely parts of it that were a bit too like that just doesn't link up, and the logic kind of was totally missing. So it knocked a little bit down there. But I really enjoyed the characters, which I haven't heard anyone mention. Like at all. Everyone speaks about writing and how the plot doesn't make sense. But there were characters that I enjoyed a fair piece. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars overall. Just having a scroll through the comments to see what people's general ratings were. So we've had some 2 stars from people at the beginning here. Let's see. 1 star here from Lost Girl of Neverland.
Which I'm really surprised at, because I genuinely thought a lot of people would give this like 5 star, would absolutely love it. So seeing all the ratings in the comments there, I'm surprised.
It had so much hype around it. I did think that it would kind of take everyone by storm and just be a total crowd pleaser.
I think it's still got a pretty high rating on Goodreads at the moment, hasn't it? It's still like over 4 stars, which is pretty solid.
I haven't checked the average. I have no idea.
I think it's 4.04 at the minute. But, you know, it's still early. Still early days.
Still early days. People saying they struggled to get through it, too flowery. Oh, this sounds interesting. I read it while I was in the hospital and on drugs. Haha. Might have made this even better than it might have been. Suited the dreaminess.
Maybe that's what Erin wanted.
Perhaps. This is also interesting as well from Bunny. Erin apparently writes bits of the story, then figures out how to link it all together.
Yeah, I heard that. And you can definitely tell.
Yep. Very strange way of writing. But yeah, there are no links between certain, or it seems like there are very few links. So
I saw on Twitter as well that she said she often comes up with the architecture as the first thing in a book rather than like characters or plots. That's why a lot of her places are just very well described, because for her she needs to bring the actual world to life before things happen in it.
That's really interesting. So yeah, lots of people saying they didn't understand it. It was confusing. Absolutely nothing happened in it. No romance at all. The mystery didn't exist, really. Cody, I'm trying to find something positive for you.
Where's Chris?
Here we go.
Hey!
I don't understand why this isn't for everyone and why it's confusing, but I just loved it anyway.
Chris is my girl. She gets it.
She's going to be with you in this one, I think.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah. Right. So let's start off then, if we're going to dive into more specifics, start off with the positives. Is that a good place to start? Do we have positives, guys?
Sure.
Sure. Go on then, AJ, pick us off. What was your favorite part about it, your favorite aspects?
I mean, I know a lot of people rag on it for the writing, but I actually didn't find the writing overly purple or flowery. It was definitely very descriptive. I thought it was really beautiful and just nice to read for most of it. And it's definitely what pulled me through the front half of the book. So if I had to pick something, I'd definitely say the writing is the standout, obviously. And we probably knew that was going to be the case anyway. I can't think of any standout scenes that I really enjoyed. I did really like the idea of the little sweets that give you a story every time you have one, and I would love a packet of those.
Okay. Were you familiar with Erin's writing beforehand? Have you read The Night Circus from her?
Yeah. I read The Night Circus, and I thought it was a pretty similar writing style. I did speak to G about it briefly beforehand, and she said she thought the writing style was very different to The Night Circus, but to me, I thought it was basically the same. Like, if you liked The Night Circus writing style, you'll like this writing style. So yeah, I kind of knew what I was expecting going into it.
Okay. Gavin?
My favorite part of it was when I did this. Amazing. But before that, I will say that I did absolutely love. I did like the main character. I did like Zachary. I thought he was a good protagonist. I thought he was confused a lot of the time as well, which I felt was very reflective of me. So I enjoyed him, and I liked the fact that he was gay. That was really cool. And just, yeah, I was so super intrigued. Like, she did hold my intrigue for a lot of this book. And even up until the end, even though I was starting to lose a bit of interest, I did want to know where the story went. And where these things went. And just like how it would end. Unfortunately, I felt like she was being a bit too ambiguous a lot of the times. She tried to cram in a bit too many metaphors for me to really understand that. So kind of like suffocated the characters for me, because then it started to feel like they weren't real people. It just felt like somebody's sort of creative writing assignment where she's been asked to put in as many metaphors as she possibly could. I mean, we got the first freaking 2 lines of it was there's a pirate in the basement. The pirate could be a metaphor or not, or something like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I kind of liked some of the sort of interlinking stories, but it got to a point for me where I was getting a bit too jaunty, because we were going back to Zachary and then going to these stories about the pirate and then going to different stories, something about like Eleanor and things like that. It was too much by the end of it. It started off really well, but then it just tailored off. Sorry, I'm supposed to be saying what I like about this. I kind of liked how, because I'm not a big fan of romance anyway, I kind of liked how it wasn't really too much of a I mean, it kind of was, I guess, really. But somebody did get stabbed in the end. So, yeah, that was great. I loved it.
That was
something. That was something.
Thank you, Gavin, for your input there. Cody,
How in the hell am I meant to follow that? To no one's surprise, I really liked the cats.
Oh, fair.
I'm trying to think of things that y'all would agree with, but honestly, the list is short. The writing, I loved the writing. Speaking about what G was saying about the writing, what AJ mentioned, though, she did say something that made me laugh, and I didn't even notice it whilst I was reading. And she said that she kind of beats around the bush a lot, because she'll be like, this thing is not this, it's not this, it's not this, but it won't actually tell you what it is. I didn't notice that at all, but I feel like on a reread that would maybe bother me more. But
I don't think she did that as much as G made, because G mentioned that to me, and I did clock it. She did do it a few times, but I don't think it was that bad. It was like sprinkled in there.
Yeah, she read me a bit, and it was like 2 pages, and it had happened like 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Because I said the same thing. I was like, I don't think it happened that often, and she was like, I have receipts.
Good old thing.
Yeah. I loved how weird it was. I loved that all the stories eventually came together in the way they did, and I loved the fact that it all came down to time and fate, and it was just a love story wrapped up in a love story about literature, and how stories, don't end, and what is a story? A story is change. There's so many quotes, but the one that sticks out is the one where Zachary's like, someone asked him, how are you feeling? And he says something like he thinks he's losing his mind. Yeah, can relate whilst reading that book, but I could not put it down. I just needed to know how it was going to end. And like I said, about the halfway point, I was like, okay, I feel like this is going to be very open-ended, and it was, but it was still quite satisfying to me, because it gave me so many feels, because I really liked all the love stories, I guess. I'm not much of a romantic, so I shocked myself there, but I really liked it. And I will say, though, Zachary was kind of bland in my opinion. It wasn't my favorite character, even though I was in his head. I liked a lot of, he had a kind of a dry sense of humor, which I liked, and he kept mentioning things that I enjoyed, like books that I enjoy, so I was like, okay, relatable, whatever. I do like you a little bit, but he just it was kind of bland, I want to say.
But he fed the cat when you wasn't supposed to feed the cat. How can you not?
I know, but like, who wouldn't? Like, what monster would not feed the cat?
It was the rule, and he broke the rules for that cat.
Yeah, I suppose maybe I like him more than I said then. But yeah, I don't know.
I feel like he was kind of meant to be kind of like a blank slate, so that we could self-project, be inserted into the story.
Perhaps my favorite. Oh, actually, one of my favorite parts was like the secret societies and how the acolytes were brought into it, like the grisly stuff with the tongue cutting out and stuff. I really liked that. Thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And the Owl King. What the hell was the Owl King?
Who knows?
I don't know. A metaphor, I guess.
Probably. I don't know. I just really liked it.
Bex, what was your favorite part?
My favorite, I think I'll go a little bit to the side of everyone else's, but I liked the atmosphere when they were underground. I loved the world that she built underground, not like the real world, the underground world. And I thought that part was really, really beautiful and really, really interesting. And I think she has, like, the story overall was really unique. Did I think it made sense? No. But I think it was really creative. So good for her.
Pat the back, Erin.
I think
I like the cats too, if that helps.
That helps.
Yeah. We all love a cat.
I didn't like the cats. I'm not a cat person.
That's why it's only 4 stars and not 5.
Exactly. Cats.
Yeah, maybe it was the cats that pushed me onto a 5-star, probably.
My favorite part of it, I think, were the stories from the books in the book rather than the book itself.
Yeah, I agree.
Cloudy when you start talking like that, doesn't it? But like the stories from Dorian's Fable book, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but the Fable book that he had, like, I really like those, and the Fate and time part, the Owl King, the moon and the inn, like so beautiful. I loved all of those, and then how they wrapped into the overall everything as well was just fabulous. And something that's really stuck with me, like stuck in my mind, is a sea of honey. Like, I can just see it.
Sticky.
It's
Trust Gav.
I just imagine it being so beautiful, especially with the way it's like, because it had like covered all of these other versions of the harbour, hadn't it? The harbours before the harbour they're at now, and then shrunk back down again. So I can just imagine this like deserted place kind of covered in honey, and then a sea of honey with Eleanor's lone ship. It just feels so beautiful to me.
And the man lost in time as well. I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah. Although the time hopping part of it is where I got like very confused with, like, the deeper into the harbour you go, the more confused time gets, and you'll end up when you're not supposed to be. Got a little bit cloudy for me. How did you feel about that?
I am
Same.
confusion.
Cody, you liked it?
No, it was a bit cloudy as well, but I like the overall concept of, Eleanor, just being on this boat and him being in his wee cave or wherever he was. I just not really sure about. I don't know. It was just, I don't know. It did things. I just really liked the idea. It was confusing, I will admit. I mean, the whole thing was confusing.
Yeah.
But will it get easier though if I reread it? Like, I feel like maybe this is kind of book where you can't just read it the once. I think by the end of it, because you already kind of know what to expect, if you go back to the start and start again, maybe that's what she's after. But I mean, she's not going to get a reread out of me for this one. But I'm wondering if that was the goal. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Because the things you're mentioning now as well, I think some of it has gone too much over my head that I can't actually remember that happening. So maybe I do need to reread it because, wow.
Yeah, were you perhaps so confused that you just ended up skim reading it because it didn't make sense anyway, so there was no point taking it in?
Quite possibly. But I did like...
Zach is nodding, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I definitely started to skim towards the end because I felt there was just so many descriptions, and they were like, granted, beautiful descriptions of things, but I was like, okay, but I want the story now. I'm like 90% through. Can you less on the descriptions and more on the story, please? And just started skimming, just a touch.
Yeah.
On the topic of story, we haven't actually mentioned the plots.
Is there one? Is there one?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at here. What was the plot? Anyone want to offer a recap of that?
Go on, Cody.
Good question. It was so many threads that all came together in the end. I don't think there was a structure to it. I think, like you said, because she writes it in parts, maybe she just jumbled it all up a little bit. But I think there was enough consistency for me to still enjoy it with the way that the stories all, interwove together. But I just think it's a thing about finding your home, finding your door, finding your story. What will your story be? Will you leave a mark in history? I think it's just one for food for thought. I don't think it's really meant to teach you anything or give you a certain impression to go away with. I think it's completely up to the reader's interpretation. But,
So do you think if we had a better main character, then maybe the story would have been more interesting? Because this was like essentially Zachary's character.
That's what I was just going to say, because I feel like Zachary was almost observing the story of like Mirabelle and the keeper guy. Like those two had the interesting story, and we kind of just got to watch a little bit of it. Like, because Zachary didn't really have any agency or any reason to be there. It was one of the problems I had with it. It was like, because even at one point he says like, oh, I could just go home. I could get a cab and leave, but I just want to see what happens next. And I was like, okay, but I don't know. It doesn't really It's not really any stakes to that.
There is that scene though where they say like, this is how everything's going to end, like, you know, we're in trouble, and he's like, no, I'm not going to let the story go out like this. Stories need change. And then he goes on his little journey and finds the man stuck in time and whatnot. So he had like a little bit of agency there, but most of the time he was just observing, wasn't he? I feel like a lot of the side characters had the more interesting story when we just got snippets of it. But maybe it is a case of him being a blank slate and, you know, just observing through someone who's impartial.
I was going to say, your comment about him being very bland and boring because he wasn't really the character you were interested in. He was your excuse to watch.
Why did I say I liked him at the start?
Because he fed the cat.
Because of the cat. Oh yeah.
He fed the cat, yeah.
Oh, that's about it. I tell you what was really peeing me off. I know his full name, Zachary Ezra Rollins, and I'll always remember that because every freaking chapter starts with Zachary Ezra Rollins does this, Zachary Ezra Rollins does that. Oh my god. Zachary Ezra Rollins needs to do one. Yeah, that was good. That was the only time I didn't like Erin's writing, because every single time she started the chapter with Zachary Ezra Rollins, it made me want to fling the book straight into the Starless Sea and never pick it back up again.
Oh my days.
Beautiful.
I will admit, although I did get sucked into all the love stories, I feel like Zachary's romance, loved that it was you know, a gay romance, really, because that's usually what I prefer. I don't know, maybe it's a fetish thing, I'm hoping it's not, but anyway. I really like queer stories. I find them more sweet, I guess. It's a little bit less obvious at the beginning that it's going to be a gay, and I don't know, it was a nice surprise to me. I was like, oh, okay, cool, like maybe we'll see more of Zachary's character through this romance. And then they had no getting to know each other scenes. It was just a case of, I feel this way for you, do you feel this way for me? But there was like, but why do you feel that way for each other?
Yeah,
I mean, it was cute, but it just didn't really have any depth. Anyone else?
But I think, was that something to do? Was it like the whole metaphor thing where it's like fated to be sort of, are they now continuing this story? I don't know. That's what I kind of
Fate
read
said
into it.
that Dorian was his boyfriend. Therefore, Dorian is
yeah. I did like
that bit. Like, it was just, he was like, I'm into you. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Because I thought at one point they were going to be some sort of reincarnation of time and fate, like those two. I was like, okay, yeah, then that makes sense why they're so strongly bonded to each other. But then it was never kind of stated in the text. I don't know if it was implied. I don't know.
I really like the paintings, though. You know, the paintings that showed like parts of time. Yeah, that was cool. There's like so many little things, like the sweets as well, and the kitchen, how the kitchen worked. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Although
I want that kitchen.
Out that the kitchen was the bees.
Yeah.
I was a bit weirded out by that.
I loved it. I was like, it's getting me more weird. Bring it on. Take it.
Weird bees materializing cupcakes and pastries out of honey.
Yeah, it was like he'd just been consisting on honey the whole time. Poor guy's gonna get ill. Within a salad, please.
Like, ooh, yay! But yeah, that honey was freaking everywhere. Right, let's see what people have been saying. I haven't been paying attention to the comments. Have you guys?
No, sorry. I've been just doing my co-pal rating as we've been doing this because I haven't done my co-pal for it yet. So
1 star.
It's not. It's actually a good rating. Ish.
Ooh, is it?
It's not. It's not my worst of January. It's not my worst of January. So,
nice.
Do you want to know what? So, because I don't know if everybody else is doing Jay's co-pal rating, but it's 6.29 for me.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
I haven't yet because I feel like it might be low, and I don't want to face that.
Oh, now I'm intrigued.
Right.
I think when I did it earlier, I hadn't finished the book. I think I was at like 70%, and I did an early one, and it was like 6.9. I really struggled with the end, so I think it might have dropped a little bit more. But yeah, I'll give it a 3 stars, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, mine worked out with 3.
Yeah, my love for it isn't logical, so if I try thinking about it logically, it's just going to be like a 2-star or something.
See,
Your
that's
love for it is a metaphor.
file
That's
fell
what it is.
down.
Yeah.
Mine came out at 7.43, and it was the logic that brought that down.
Wrote down.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Completely.
Mhm.
But on that note, I'm going to pull out some comments because we should be paying more attention to them. Pris, I think you're supposed to be confused. I think it left things to your imagination. Some things are better left unexplained.
But then, does that make Erin Morgenstern lazy? Really? Did I just say that? Maybe I did. But does that mean if she's leaving too much to the reader, it was making us do all the work? I mean, surely the author, this is her world, this is her creation. She has to have some kind of, I don't know, some kind of way to guide us. But like with her ambiguity, things go off in too many different places. I was hoping by the end there would be one definite sort of logical ending, and there just wasn't. So if we're supposed to be confused, that's not really a good thing, I don't think. Just saying.
No, I agree. I think there was too much mystery.
Yeah. Sorry, Pris. But you're wrong.
Bookish Linguist has summed up the plot for us.
Oh, yay.
Boy finds book, goes to party, ends up getting kidnapped and burning down a building. Then boyfriend falls off a cliff and he goes looking for him. They find each other. The end.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. Yeah, that makes me want to read it.
Gavin, you have read it. Remember that?
At this point, everything's already coming out. Ready for the next book. I'm saying that I am still really excited to read The Night Circus. I am so excited to read The Night Circus.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I know. Oh, and it's put you off.
I think Night Circus is a bit more concrete than this one, though.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I want. I don't want things to be too ambiguous. I want something more grounded. That's what I want. Grounded.
Yeah. I don't know. One of my favorite books of all time is Alice in Wonderland. So like,
I love that as well, though. So it's yeah.
Can we talk about the kitchen being a bunch of bees?
Right.
That was random. That really was random.
And didn't he say at one point, "I love you, kitchen," and the kitchen was like, "Thank you, we appreciate that." It's like,
I'm fond of you.
I was expecting it to be like an AI, like an AI or something at first. Like
That would
like
be normal, I think.
Yeah, I think it would have been a little bit, not, crazy enough or not.
Sense. Yeah.
Yeah, not imaginative enough or whimsical enough. I think whimsical is the word that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why did Zachary dying do whatever it did?
I want to know why it had to happen and then how it was undone.
Yeah.
Zachary's death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
it was undone through the heart, right? He had the heart of fate.
The heart of fate.
Yeah, but he was coming back, like monsters were coming back or something.
Repeat that.
Dorian had to like keep killing him. Remember, and he thought he knew.
Oh yeah.
He thought he'd know the real one, and then he stabbed the real one. And he was like, "Oops."
I quite like that. That's a bit tragic.
Yeah. But then he got the heart, and then he lives.
And him having the heart of fate could potentially play into your Dorian and Zachary, a reincarnation of fate and time thing. So, I mean, that could be the most sense we're ever going to make of this.
It sounds lovely. It sounds lovely.
I just didn't understand that bit. Like, I got that he died, but I didn't get why him dying saved everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we were always told from the beginning that he had a part to play, and he had like like a destiny, something to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
We just didn't know what it was until then, and it was pretty tragic. I almost shed a tear. But usually, I hate a reresurrection trope.
Yeah,
but in this
same.
one, I was just like, it's fine. At this point, the gloves are off. Nothing's meant to make sense, so it's cool.
Yeah. I think I was okay with this one because as soon as he died on the next page, he was like alive. It wasn't as if they tried to trick us into thinking he's dead.
Yeah,
he was like straight away.
Yeah, I didn't feel
the bit that made me I got a little bit of emotion from was is it Kat when she goes to visit his mum and his mum's like, "Oh, you've always got a home here." I was like, "Oh God."
So
That
cute.
was sweet.
His mum though. Oh, I love his mum.
Yeah.
It's me getting, attached to the parents again, Gav.
Yeah. Oh, again. Oh my God.
Again.
This was the born season. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
You love yourself a parent.
I've got issues there,
Love
apparently.
yourself a daddy, don't you?
I knew you were going to say that.
MVP.
Yeah.
You want a friend that will look
Okay.
to the ends of the earth for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so is Kat like now the keeper of the Starless Sea? Is that how it ends?
I don't know.
Or is she just there, just loving life?
Next visitor, like the next paid.
She's just the first person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First person to come across the new harbour.
That's what I got from it as well. But again, it's just left up to the reader's interpretation because it's not said on the page. So.
Yeah. And how can someone visit the harbour if the keeper's not there to introduce them and have them take the test? And, well, I suppose the keeper doesn't do that, but like the keeper's there, but the keeper's not there when Kat goes there. So maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I doubt we'll get a sequel to tell us either.
Yeah.
That.
It's
Be
not
another 10 years before she writes anything else as well, won't it? I mean, if it took her like 10 years to write this? Gosh. She needed that time, let me tell you.
Yeah.
all right.
I liked the keeper though. I feel like Kat could be like the next keeper, but like he was like, I wanted more from him. Like his reveal was kind of like, oh, but what? I mean, most books like that.
So you can sat here forever writing love letters. Cool.
I could have done with more from that romance as well, to be honest.
Yeah,
Just a
that
bit
was the
more.
one that was more like interesting, I found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dear.
Did we ever get any sort of clarification on the Owl King thing? Was
Not
that
that I remember.
no?
I think so.
What do we make of the Owl King? Are we all just really confused by that?
Yeah.
Was it ever said who the next? Oh, I guess that's what you just asked, Jade. But they never said because it does say like an
When
Owl
the-
King dies and another takes his place.
Yeah,
But then nobody ever took his place, right? That we know of.
not
Did
the
they? Did they miss that?
no.
So many
Mystery.
unanswered
It's up
questions.
to us. It's up to us. Owl King was stupid.
I love you,
No
bookish
comment.
linguist. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was confusing entirely. I'm going to go back to my document of questions. My next one is, what was your least favourite part? Because that whole conversation came from what was supposed to be your favourite parts, but I feel like you've probably already
Yeah.
Thanks. What was your least favourite part? What
Felt
did you
like
hate
the writing
most?
was trying too hard.
Trying too hard.
Trying too hard to be pretty. Trying too hard to be. Oh, I don't know. Trying too hard to make it an atmosphere when I was just like, just stop, Stone. Just write the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
AJ, do you have a least favourite part? A part you can pinpoint as being awful?
I mean, probably just the ending, like the back half of the book. People were doing things just because they wanted to, just to basically further the plot. Or like, I felt like there was no stakes. Like the people weren't doing anything because they really had to, but just because they wanted to, which is fair enough. But for my personal taste in reading, it didn't didn't really match. I just was quite bored, really.
Fair enough. Not going to ask you, Gavin, because
No, please. Well, can I just say?
go
Right,
on.
I hate. Right, I know this is my gripe with any book, right? Okay, so I love Harry Potter so much. I hate when books reference the shit out of Harry Potter. I'm sick of it. I'm sick to death of reading about Harry Potter in every single bloody book. Just cut it out, authors, please. I know you're a fan of Harry Potter. We know this. you don't need to keep referencing in every single book. Ugh, it's tiring. Ugh. But yeah, I hated that.
Coming from someone who actually likes Harry Potter.
I love Harry Potter so much. I hate it.
Imagine how us rare flowers feel.
Yeah, you're rare breed. But no, I also just the start of every chapter starting with Zachary Ezra Rollins. That's just Gavin Scott Hetherington. It wouldn't have a good ring to it either. So why are you going to say that? You know, she's that good at writing. Why can't she think of a different way to start a chapter? Again, laziness. That's all it is.
Like, clearly a deliberate choice.
To let us know who we're with, but then at least make his name so much more, you know, like better. I mean, she can think of something better than Zachary Ezra Owens. Maybe something like Princess Banana Hammock. That would also be a lot better. You know what I mean? Like something that would be, I don't know. But yeah.
So you didn't like his name.
I mean, I love the name Zach because I mean Zac Efron, but he was no Zac Efron. So
He's not wrong.
Okay. All right.
Cody.
moving over to Cody.
Nothing. It was perfect. All these things I've been nodding at, I was just lying the whole time. There's nothing wrong with it. It's an amazing, perfect book. No, okay. Yeah, I loved how just ridiculous it was and how up to interpretation it was, how confusing it was. They give me all the weird metaphors and similes all day. I don't know. Usually I'm quite logical, but when it's something like this, I just get swept up. But I can agree that I can agree that it was just too confusing in places. There's definitely characters I wish it would focus more on. For example, like the Keeper and just
The painter.
Yeah.
Allegra.
Yeah. Obviously, allegory. I mean, that was too obvious. Ugh. She's that clever at writing metaphors and allegory that a character has to be called allegory or whatever, which is so obviously allegory. Okay, continue.
Yeah, I wanted her to be a better villain so she could have a better redemption arc as well. Like villains are a thing for me. If you're gonna write one, they need to be.
But didn't she die off screen or something? Like she was just dead.
When the earthquake happened and her and Dorian fell into it, Dorian landed on the ship. She just happened to die on the way down.
Yeah.
I wanted something a bit more impactful than that.
Yeah.
At least have it a bit more allegorical. Come on, Erin. What are you playing at?
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think you guys have got enough negatives that I'm nodding to, but still being like, I'd loved it anyway, so I'm not.
I still give it 3 stars.
Yeah, so you liked the writing enough to want to try the next one.
I think out of all the January books that I read, the only one that I gave it a higher rating for writing was Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. That one I think was a 10 out of 10 writing. This one I gave 9 out of 10 because I think the writing it was really, really good. Just I underappreciate it. I do. But Skyward, Brandon Sanderson, yes, best book of Jan.
You are redeemed in my eyes.
Oh, thanks.
Interesting comment here. I thought the new Owl King was Allegra. She was the girl that was taken to the Owl King and she had the future visions.
Interesting.
What do you think about that? Could that be?
I don't know. It's too allegorical for me to understand, I'm afraid.
You're having too much fun, Gavin.
I love read, rate, review live shows.
Because you've not liked any of the books.
I've not I've given every single one 3 stars. What's going on? I don't know.
Didn't like it. 3 stars.
Hey!
I'm like Cody now.
Oh dear. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. We've kind of covered all of my other questions that I had written down. So my next one was about the characters. Who's your favorite, least favorite, in terms of that? But we've kind of discovered that Zach wasn't really a character, more of a device.
The cat had the most personality, right?
Mm. Yeah.
I also like bees. I know it was weird, but I thought they were funny.
Who?
Yeah.
Bees.
Yeah, I also really like the
These were
painted
cool.
door at the start. I mean, the painted door had a lot of character too. Maybe more so than the main character. Yeah.
Oh my god, stop.
So, painted door.
He's like, never. I knew this live show was going to be fun.
I love you, Cody. I can't wait to see you and give you a big hug.
Yeah, you better.
I really liked Dorian. He was my favourite character.
Adore Ian.
Oh, get in there, Cody. Yes.
maybe that's why Zachary is like the key, and then Dorian is like the door.
Because he puts himself into Dorian. Yes. He
I mean,
penetrates
that's where I was
Dorian's
going. You
keyhole,
need to explain it.
and then he turns the lock and opens him up. Yeah. I say that. I say that. Yeah.
You see that? Yeah.
I say it. Yeah, I
It's
say
fun. Yeah. I love how we're doing gestures too. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. We needed those.
it. Okay, I'll stop now.
Never stop.
Gav always makes it extra dirty
I do.
every time.
Always. You can't do that in our middle grade live streams, you know.
Can you imagine? No, I promise I won't. I promise. I almost slipped up. But
You to actually not though. You're gonna have
I
to
know.
like stop yourself from saying stuff.
that's why people need to tune in to see if I slip up or not.
Oh.
But around all that, I liked Dorian.
Yeah.
Did any of you have any favourite characters? Any of the others?
I
Who's your
don't think so.
Brady? Who was your favourite character? Did you
The
have?
bees.
Okay, that was genuine. Okay.
I don't know. It wasn't that genuine. I just thought I thought it was a cute touch. I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite character, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Mirabelle was kind of cool. Like at the beginning, I liked her more because I don't know, she just seemed a bit cooler, and then towards the end, I was just getting a little bit annoyed with her and her choices.
Yeah, it seemed like halfway she had a switch of heart, a switch of motive, and I was a bit lost by that. She seemed like she was totally on Zach's side, and then just shoved at the deep end and was like, "Nah, deal with it by yourself. Bye."
Yeah, she totally pulled an Irish. She just flaked. She's like, yeah.
What does pulled an Irish mean?
Oh, just like leave early. Like, don't tell anyone.
Nice.
The introvert trick.
That's what I want to do right now.
If you could change anything about it, what would you change?
Nothing.
Fair enough.
Gavin wouldn't read it.
See, I was saying this. I was saying this to Gita. I don't know if I would change anything because I think it is a very good book. It's just not for me. And if I changed it, it would just be a completely different book. So I don't. Yeah, I don't think I would change anything because, it is really good for what it's trying to do. What it's trying to do is just not for me, basically.
Yeah. I think if we had a conclusive ending, I feel like I wouldn't have liked it as much because I prefer open-ended stories. I prefer coming away and having to think about it and think about what could have happened and theorize. And I feel like a conclusion may have made it a bit weaker because it might not have been satisfying enough for a lot of people. So I feel like maybe she just didn't bother. She was like, I can't please everyone, so I'm just not going to try. Maybe. But I don't know. I like open-ended stories, and so it's fine with me.
I think maybe I would have changed sort of interlacing of the stories. I kind of feel like it was too chopped up for me. I think if maybe more of it was together, then I wouldn't have felt as confused maybe going over time, because it was the constant going back and forth between them that I think really didn't help. So maybe it would just be like, maybe because a lot of the chapters are short, like which I love short chapters, but when it's these stories and it's butchered up the way it was, I felt like if it had just been more compact and more together, I would have understood it more. But yeah, I think that's what I would change. I'd have the stories more compact. Yeah. So that was respectful of me. See?
Yeah,
I liked it because it felt like short stories and fables, and I was just
yeah.
I liked the short stories and the fables. Like I thought they were really cool, but everything else, like I didn't like the main story. Yeah.
Damn.
So I got no changes either. I don't know. I don't know where to start.
I'm agree with Cody. Like, if it had been changed to make perhaps a bit more sense and be a bit more wrapped up, then it just wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have been what it was trying to be. And maybe for some people it was trying too hard to be what it's trying to be. But I did overall really enjoy it. Just was a little bit too confused for certain parts. So yes. Do we have any like final thoughts? Surprisingly, this hour's gone very quickly.
Yeah, it has. I would say this is one of the most stunning books ever, though. Like, look at that. That is stunning.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Genuinely beautiful. So that I'll give it that. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous book.
5 stars for the cover.
5 out of 5.
I love the symbology as well of the bee, the key, the sword, and then you get the feather and the heart when you get further into it. I really liked how they all had that part had a structure, like the way they had their roles to play and their customs and stuff and what each thing means. I mean, we could have had more for the feather with the Owl King. Like, I wish we'd found out more about that, but Zachary was the heart. So
did you ever find out what the crown meant?
Oh yeah, the crown as well. I'm not sure if we ever found that out. Oh, I have a cat.
I love it. Is it Bella?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
No? Okay.
That's what this stream's been lacking. Cats.
We
normally
exactly.
She's gonna leave. Thanks, Bella.
Back to no cats. Do any of you guys have any questions regarding the book? Anything you want to ask that was not on my list?
I'm still no further forward of understanding it. But
I don't think any of us can help with that, though.
I kind of appreciate it more now. So, but
it's not put you off Morgenstern though. You're still hyped for Night Circus.
Yeah, I can't wait to read Night Circus. Yeah, so but I've got no questions about this one. I mean, I'd love to have a sit down and chat with Erin Morgenstern and find out what was going on. But other than that, no, I'm good.
See, this one put me off reading the Night Circus. Like, I want to remove it from my shelves.
It just sounds like such an interesting plot. It sounds like such an interesting plot. And that one sounds like it has a plot.
Night Circus has more of a plot.
Yeah.
It's much more.
It's still definitely slow paced, but it's there, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yes. Again, I've kind of missed out on the comments. I haven't been paying enough attention to that. Apologies, guys. But do any of you guys watching have any questions or thoughts or anything that you'd like us to discuss / address? And thank you for the well dones. I've tried my hardest.
You've done such a great job. Round of applause. Amazing.
All I want to do is make G proud.
Oh,
he is so proud of it right now.
Is the romance the same in regards to? Are we comparing
to the Night Circus?
Night Circus and this? Is the romance?
Night Circus is more like rivals to lovers.
Yeah. I think the Night Circus romance is much more like in-your-face romance.
Yeah.
Like that is a big part of the plot in that one.
Yeah, that's the thing that sticks out in my mind when I think about the Night Circus is the descriptions and the romance. Whereas with the Starless Sea, the romance isn't the thing that sticks out in my mind, even though that kind of carried the story towards the end. It's not the thing that sticks out for me.
Yeah. Another comparison for that's a different question. How are Cody's fairy lights going? Cody, how are your fairy lights going?
I mean, going well.
They look lovely.
Good. I wasn't a fan of the Night Circus either, but the plot made more sense. It's more chronological. It does make more sense.
And it's not split up in different parts either. It's just one plot line.
One plot, yeah. But prefer the writing style of the Starless Sea. Maybe she'll write a book that has both. Maybe, but you'll probably have to wait 12 to 15 years. Pris has a question.
Yay!
Are you reading for Polarthon?
Yes.
I see 3 nodding heads. AJ?
Yes.
Yay!
Got a full set here.
Of course.
Represent.
These are more questions about the Night Circus at this point. Does the Night Circus have a more clear ending?
I mean, it's
I'm going to say no.
It's not super satisfying, but it's way less confusing than the Starless Sea.
Yeah, I suppose it is more of an ending, but it's still bizarre.
Yeah.
Seems to be everything, and look at that, just at the 1 hour mark. So if
timed, professional.
Here, I tried. I told you I had a schedule of questions when to ask them.
Nailed it.
So yeah, that's that. The link to the survey for what we'll be reading next time I will pop into the description of this, and it will probably be shared on the Read Rate Review Twitter, but I have no control over that. So hopefully it will be there. So be sure to place your votes for next time. Oh, look at Pris doing a job for us and putting it in the comments. Thank you. But yeah, that is that. We will be meeting again in 2 months. God, dates, don't know. Be confirmed closer to the time. Location will also be confirmed closer to the time, because I believe we're now doing it in whoever's book wins is where we go.
I think that's right. Yeah.
We don't know where we'll be, when we'll be, or what we'll be doing. But, we'll let you know what to do.
I take back the professional bit. That's what I think.
It's falling apart.
Control it. Sorry. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for participating. Thank you guys for believing in me hosting here. And we will see you next time. Yeah.
Yay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.